Landon Crawley Racing has welcome Landon Crawley Racing to Pitch in the Hit. Well, thank you, Landon. Thank you. The newly dubbed factory team there with the 12X, Landon Crawley. I'm looking forward to it. Shared a nice conversation. He says, I can't believe I just paid. This is beautiful. Can't believe I just paid $3.25 to comment on your live chat. You didn't have to. All you had to do was subscribe. You didn't have to join the membership, Landon. Oh my God. Did you really join the membership because you thought you had to? You just had to subscribe to the channel. Like, click the channel, subscribe, not membership. God, if that's really what you just did there, no, making some similar mistakes on the track, Landon, just saying. Just saying. But thank you for being a part. I'm sure you'll cancel your membership now. You're $3.25. Sitting here with my keypad ready, bud. Oh, no. I should have had a Landon Crawley graphic. Crawley graphic. I didn't know I needed one of these. Yeah. Who's there? Is this Landon Crawley?
Eric, you know who it is. You got to say hi to my mom real quick.
Why is this happening? Hello, Laura. How have you been enjoying the show, Laura?
Absolutely, yeah.
She's sitting in here watching it herself.
Is this the first time she's watched the show?
Probably not the first, but I'm sure the other reasons aren't for the reasons you want.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm saying here. So what's up? What are you calling in? Are you calling to request a refund or joining the channel?
Well, we can handle that later. I was just proving to you that it's actually me. There seems to be some doubt there, and I'm not really sure why.
I didn't see Landon Crawley. That was not on my bingo card. That's like Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement. I didn't see Landon Crawley joining the Chaz channel as a member today. It just didn't happen. I just didn't see it coming.
Trust me, I didn't plan on doing it.
God's plans are weird. So what's up? What do you want to talk about? What any comments on the show? Seems like you have a few.
I mean, I can't tell you all of my comments. I know that somebody just said highest female viewership. I find that really funny.
It's true. No, it is. I have the highest female. I don't know why he's referencing you for that reason. Or Laura, I guess. Okay, there you go.
Oh wow, okay. Interesting comment.
I guess that's why he's saying that.
I mean, I have a few opinions on some of the tire stuff and all that, but I don't know if that's really my place to speak on it.
What do you mean your place? It's just what you think. What's wrong with you thinking as a driver?
And I'm not the guy that's creating the tires or has anything to do with it. I just know that it would be really hard for Hoosier to get pushed out of the sport. Not necessarily pushed out, but it'd be really tough for anybody else to come in.
Well, yeah, I think American Racer would have to drop. From what I was hearing, American Racer would have to drop a production line of one of their tires to do to even keep up, even try to keep up.
I mean, I will say I heard some rumors not too long ago about American Racer coming back. I mean, I don't know how true it is. I know I heard it from a good source. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but the old McCreary's is now American Racer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely a chance, but you got to think about it from all the different sides. I mean, 40 or 50 national teams running 300 tires a year. That's pretty much 20,000 tires they have to come up with, and they have to do this quickly. Not, you know exactly what I'm saying. And like this guy just said, I mean, nobody has. I don't think there's many people that can do what Hoosier's doing.
Hoosier is the only one, I believe, with an actual plant of their own making the tires.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's going to be really hard for anybody to push that out. Like, I don't think there's really any way. And the other deal too is Hoosier's got so much money and tied up into the sport between. I mean, there's a lot more that Hoosier's doing than what you'd see on the outside. There's more that goes on. So it's going to be tough to get rid of that. I don't think there's any way. It's going to be a few years before you see anything like that come up, I think.
Well, and that's why I think it could be sooner than a few years, but based on the conversations I heard. That I mean, a lot of people were pissed off at that West Coast meeting, apparently. But I don't think it'll be a situation where Hoosier is pushed out. I don't think it'll be a deal where High Limit comes out and says, all right, you have to run American Racers now. It'll be more so like, all right, you can run American Racers now, like an addition.
Well,
I think it'll be multiple.
You got to look at it this way too. Hoosier has dominated every form of dirt racing for so long, how is that going to make them feel when another brand comes in?
Well,
You know
they
what I
got
mean?
they
I
got them
mean,
in every other division. I mean, the late models at Gateway, it was two tire compounds. They got them in the modifieds. They got them in the big blocks. I mean, really, sprint cars is the only thing on the national scene because you still have American racers like in Ohio. There's section, I believe, even down there. Like with that sprint car bandits when they originally had it, you could run whatever you wanted. You just had a durometer.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
we
I
can, we
mean,
can go
there's
run.
areas where you can run them right now. It's just nationally, you can't, on anything, except, uh, no, the big blocks is the only one, but that's split up between the short track super series and the super dirt car series nationally, which that's still regionally in a way. But the national late model tour, the national sprint car tours, they're all Hoosier.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every dominant series is all Hoosier, and that all falls back on, in my opinion, how much money Hoosiers pumped into the sport. And I mean, these guys have sponsored, they funded banquets, they funded points funds, they funded so much for so long. I mean, it's gonna be tough to really do anything about Hoosier. And I hate to be the one to say it, and it really sucks, but I think we're going to be stuck in this same loop of prices going up, and I hate to say tires getting worse, but tires getting worse. I mean, because it's at the end of the day, we all think it. I mean, the quality of our tires have gone so downhill in the last. I mean, even since when I started racing sprint cars, which was 6 or 7 years ago now. I mean, our tires are not. They're not good. So I don't think we're going to get out of that spiral for a while. So,
and I think some of the
our
bigger money teams are noticing that. Like apparently somebody said that Rudine's tied in with that Wedge company. And from what I was told is Wedge would have to go through the same company that American Racer goes through right now to get the tires done. It's just about paying the bill to get the tires done. So that's why these guys
well,
are trying to get in with these series to break that barrier. I think it's possible in high limit to do that because they got the flow money. They got enough money in that pool with the flow conglomerate and everybody where they could pretty much do whatever they want. They do whatever they want over there because they got the money to supplement funding
well,
for banquets and
I mean,
funding for that and this. So if Rudine obviously is I see Rudine and Queering as very similar entities, although they're not. Like I see Rudine as a very big player in the high limit side, just like Queering is a big player on the outlaw side. And they got a car and they got tracks, So if Rudine's potentially trying to snuggle up with high limit to break that barrier, then I could see why he would potentially write a check with the Wedge brand to produce enough tires to compete and then put it on the 26 car in a few of their groups or whatever clique they got going, if that makes sense.
well, and the other deal too. I mean, it's gonna be a multi-year process. You can't just say here's a tire and go race it. I mean, this stuff, the NASCAR deal. I mean, I know a guy that he works for Dunlop Falcon. I mean, he's a tire tester. It's what he does. He drives street cars and tests tires. You have to go through that same process in the sprint car deal. I mean, when Goodyear was coming around, kind of the 2007, 8, 9, 10 era, I mean, tire testing was like very common. I mean, your top guys did that a lot. And you're going to have to go through all that same process. You're going to have to get one sanction on board. And then you're going to have to make both series agree. And I mean, I don't feel like high limit and outlaws are against each other by any means, but I definitely think they're going to have a hard time coming to terms on that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we all race together. We're all at the same race. I race with high limit guys all year. I race with outlaw guys.
Aren't they
all year. Like,
already different in the
together.
rules though? You can run the adjustable shocks. You can have the filler up bleeders. They already have differences in the rule packages.
I mean, yes and no, but it's differences that are very small. I mean, yeah, you can run a shock adjuster in high limit, and you can't with outlaws. You can run an air pump high limit.
Isn't
not
putting
with
a
outlaws.
different tire on somewhat similar?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends how you look at it, but that's wholesale change.
But when
and you're going from something that we ran forever.
So then look at it like this. You was talking about they need to be able to produce enough tires for everybody to run them. The problem and the thing that's happening now, and I don't know if you've noticed this with the high limit groups, is there's I call it click based, but it's more so it should be called exclusivity is becoming premium, and parts is selling in that exclusivity, whether that's in the sprint car world, we see that with the motors department, like your Morrison, your Charlie Garrett's, but I think it's also starting to spread out. Like, what's that header that like the little click of high limit runs, Rico runs at champion headers or something like that?
Specialty headers.
Specialty headers.
I see.
But
I
what
know
I'm
what
saying is like,
you're
here's
saying.
the deal. Say high limit opens up the tire deal. Say Rudine and them, whoever it is, they can only make or they only want to make like 2,000 tires, and they only want 4 or 5 teams to have them, and they're legal to run. And even if you want them, well, you have to be a wedge driver or something to have them. They're legal to run,
Well,
but
I'll just say
I
you
mean,
can't do that. You can't do that.
they'll just say
I
they
mean,
can't supply
that's
enough
not
to
gonna
keep
work.
up. You got to run the Hoosiers. Sorry, they ain't gonna come out and say it. I'm just saying you could play the game.
No, that wouldn't work, because I mean, when you start getting beat by guys that are on American racers and you can't get them, that's when that becomes a problem. That'll never happen. And I understand what you're talking about with the motor deal too. I mean, you think exclusivity, but that's really not what it is. It's
So is
I
it
mean, a
not
little bit,
fair that
yes,
you
but
can't get a Morrison if you want one?
not. I
It's
don't
not
think it
fair,
is by
right?
any
But
means.
it happens. I'm just
I've
saying.
ran I've
It's
ran
not fair,
every
but it
type of motor
happens.
there is, basically. And yeah, you can say it's not fair, but that's not those guys. That's not the way that their business is set up. These guys help their people. It's the same deal with Charlie Garrett. He has his people, and he only deals with his people. He has a certain number of motors he wants to build
I'm just
every year.
talking about
He's
the
got a
same
certain.
thing, but in the tire world.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but there's no way you could do that on tires. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, our motors, a top team, you could be running Ryder, you could be running a Garrett, you could be running a Fisher, whatever. They're all going to be close. All of our motors are, I'm not going to say they're identical because they're not, but any guy, any of your top guys anyways, can go build a motor that's solid and can compete. I mean, I ran Ryders all year this year. I ran Kisslers all year last year, and they run just as good, I feel like, as some of the Garretts, some of the Morrisons. I'm not going to say that those guys aren't a little bit better, but, I mean, we're all close on that. But as far as tires, you can't have 6 guys on one set of tires, 6 of your good guys, and then nobody else can get them.
But
Because, I mean, tires.
that's kind of happening already. The motors departments, it's happening. You could see it maybe getting that way with the headers, depending on if they like you or not. It could get that way with shocks. That's how it works in the big boy stuff. You know, you have your factory drivers, and those are the people who get them, and no one else does. That's I'm just
Well, I
saying, in
mean,
other industries
it's in
like
NASCAR.
Supercross and
The same
every
way it is in NASCAR.
rallycross. I mean, that's how it works, though. That's the progression is exclusivity to certain teams. It's not fair, right?
Well,
But
I don't think we'll ever get to that point where you have certain guys that only do certain things. And even if it does, a sprint car is such a simple race car. There's always going to be ways to build something that's going to make a race car fast. And at the end of the day, your 4 shocks, yeah, they matter. And you could have one guy. I mean, TSR, when they were testing the Fox stuff, like, yeah, it matters. It's different, but the exclusivity of it doesn't really. I don't think it doesn't really matter. I mean, I can tell you right now, I ran everything from Momentums to FK, CSIs, Penske's. I ran the whole 9 yards. And I mean, that stuff just comes down to preference. Yeah, same deal with the motor. All that comes down to motors, or to just preference. Tires are, I mean, that's a
that's
rule.
preference
I mean,
too on
we all have
size, right? But that's still you have preference within the manufacturer
yeah,
itself.
but we can all get whatever tire we want, and I think that's going to be the same. That's going to be the same deal forever. I think. I don't think there'll ever be a point where tires get to exclusivity. I don't think that'll ever happen.
It could. I mean, even when NASCAR had their wars, I mean, you had certain drivers signed to Hoosier and certain drivers signed to Goodyear. And that's what they ran. And you couldn't, if you was signed, you couldn't run the other. You know, that was a tire deal back in the day. Same thing with Goodyear and Sammy and the McCrarys with other drivers and the Hoosiers with other drivers. That was a tire deal. That's what has
Well, I
already
mean,
kind of
there was
happened.
a time in sprint racing where you had 3 of your top guys on 3 different tire brands,
Right, and
and
they had a
there
deal to where they
like,
couldn't run
it
anything
all
but that.
right. But there will never be a point for a tire company where they're gonna limit what they sell to who they sell. That'll never happen. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you got to think these guys got to produce so many tires. It'd be stupid to only cut that to a certain amount. I
But
mean, I
if
don't know
you
what
know
it
you only
to
need a
produce
certain
tires.
amount to fill the agreements you have, that makes it a lot easier to say we can do it.
I mean, yes and no, but tires is the one deal that I just don't feel like that could ever happen. It's too. I mean, I'm not going to say it can't happen, but I don't feel like it will happen just because one, there's going to be so much complaining that it's going to get pushed out. Like, I mean,
They're
if
already
you've got 6
complaining about
guys,
it just being Hoosier, though. I mean, so then no one wins.
well, they're complaining. They're complaining for different reasons, not necessarily just because it's
Well,
Hoosier.
and somebody just said in the comments, what about Schnee Lawson chassis? Aren't those only being offered for certain drivers? Like, so the
No,
chassis.
not at all. You can go buy a Chennai. You can buy a Chennai right now. I mean, anybody
Okay.
can do that. The only real sprint car parts that we can't, like, you can't just go walk up with money and buy is motors. That's the only thing we can't really do.
Right. And some people don't like the
And
fact that I guess Rico's involved with the motor builder. I don't know how you feel about a racer being involved, but
well, I mean, I don't think that really matters, to be honest. I mean, you were talking about the specialty deal, Ricky's header deal. I mean, yeah, it seems exclusive, but I really don't think it is because I can go buy a set of specialty headers right now. So,
I would
I
say that
mean,
was more for promo purposes. You know, you get a few guys on these certain headers, and now everybody wants one. You know, that's
well, and
that's how
I
it
think
works. And then
there is
I'm gonna
benefit.
assume that if Speedway gets to going well, it's gonna be paired with the specialty header, and that's gonna be like a package. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, it will be. But I mean, there is benefits to running specialty headers. I mean, on a dyno, I can't tell you exactly what they are because I've never been to a dyno with them. But I mean, I've heard they're every bit of 30 horsepower on the top end. So I mean, there is benefits to running them. But I mean, I don't think Speedway has always been a deal where you got to be in there to get anything out of them. I mean, that's always kind of been their deal. And it's the same deal as a lot of these other guys too. I mean, they just have a certain number they want to hit every year, and they have their people that they've dealt with for a long time, and that's just how it is. But that's really only on the motor deal. Yeah, headers could end up that same way too, but headers aren't making a big enough difference right now for that to really matter. And even if it did, Show and Field's going to come in and they're going to do the same thing, and you'll have 2 options available. So you got to look at it that way too.
Well, that's all I'm saying. What happened with the tires? That you just basically predicted the future of what I'm saying could be the reality of the header or the tire situation right now. You know, American Racer or somebody coming in and offering an alternative because of the lockdown in the market. But it's not the same. Regardless, opinions on the since we got you here, opinions on the Butler built seat not being approved.
I'm pretty up in the air on it. I mean, I like where it's going. Are you talking about the XC gear deal?
Well, it seemed like your dad in particular thought the Monkey Bar XC Monkey Bars was a good idea. And Butler utilized that Monkey Bar system to do the beltless seat. That's the one that was not approved or not allowed that they had
Yeah,
on display.
yeah, yeah. All that
Agree,
wasn't approved
disagree?
was
What
the
do you
XC
think?
gear. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with them because at the end of the day, that's another deal that hasn't been tested. I mean, you were at Dave and Darren's safety meeting, so you heard exactly what I heard, and I mean, I agree with him that it just needs to be tested more, but that's absolutely working in the right direction, and it sometime within the next 3 years that I feel like that needs to be the thing. I mean, there's plenty of reasons why. I mean, if you think about it, you got a Cup car, Indy car, their seatbelts are on their seat. And, when you're running, when you're running a safety deal like Chasm or XC gear, when you compress and your seat belts are mounted straight to the frame, every time you compress, your seat belts are going to loosen. When you go down, the seat belts loosen up, and it's not much, but it's enough to make a difference, you know. So, and the other deal, and we'll use Chase
But
Johnson's crash
hold on, wouldn't that be a reason the all belts system with those monkey bars makes sense, because you're not worried about your belts coming loose with that,
Yeah, exactly.
mount, because the belts are attached to the seat. So there is no belt slack with that idea. They're just more so,
No,
it sounds like
exactly.
they're more so worried about there's not enough testing on these mounts and the hits. And I honestly think, when people have asked me, to me, it sounds like they just don't trust the cars to stay together more so than the mounts. We still, I mean, how you can wreck in these, it can break those bars, and you never know. So I think they're more concerned about having a emergency parachute, and that is the belts around the frames and the bars.
I mean, I wouldn't blame it on one specific thing, but at the end of the day, you have to think. I mean, is the seat strong enough to withstand that and nothing come off with it? You have to think about how strong is the bolt that's holding in your XC gear. I mean, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the device itself. I mean, it's plenty. I think it's plenty strong, like it's going to hold. But you also have to factor in, is my seat strong enough? Because if you crash a race car, your seat can bend forward. Look at, for example, Chase Johnson's crash. His seat bent forward, and ultimately that's what got him paralyzed.
Well, and that seems
then
like
that
a
was
blame for the
right.
brackets, right? The distance of the brackets. It was like he had 5-inch spacers on there.
Well, yeah. Well, he had. I don't remember exactly what the number was. I want to say
it was long.
I'll tell you, he had a 5/8 bolt in there, which is, in my opinion, too long. And also, in my opinion, which this is completely opinion, where he mounted his seat, where his caught bolts were, probably weren't in the best spot, especially on the Butler belt deal, where the way that their seats are built. I feel like they could have put it maybe in a better spot where they had their bolts ran. But you also have to think about too. I mean, when you're running this XC gear deal, is the seat strong enough to stay together with? Because I mean, if something happens to your seat and something happens from the center of your seat up, the XC gear is going to go with the seat. So you have to factor that in too, and that could bring up a lot of problems. So it just needs some testing done to see. You have to test the strength of everything. That's what it comes down to. Is everything strong enough to withstand it?
Well, and like Darren said in that meeting, if he was to, the problem is testing, because if he was to inspect Chase's car the night of the wreck, he would have probably looked at it and said it was fine, because we lack testing with all these different contraptions we have, and we don't get to find out that it's wrong until our test dummies are people right now, until something
absolutely.
happens.
And the other deal too, in my opinion, I mean, I feel like something needs to be done with the way sprint cars are built. And here's the way I think about it. When you have a seat that is mounted straight up and down, literally straight up and down vertically, when you crash and you land flat, that you are compressing your entire body, and all of that goes straight down your spine. When you're sitting straight up, you land flat, you compress down, that's going straight down your spine. So there needs to be some way to get a sprint car seat that has more pitch. You need to have your spine at probably 20 degrees of angle, and I think that would probably eliminate more problems than a lot of things. But sprint cars are, I'm not going to say stuck in the past, but
they are.
We've just been doing the same thing for so long. It's just time for a change in the safety category.
Well, I did bring up your
common sense.
Well, I did bring up your dad's idea on the show the other day when we were talking about the seat getting rejected. I do think that is a good idea to, his idea to move the steering box up, get that out of the way so you can move the seat up a little bit, tilt it over. I even went to KSE about that idea. And KSE says that they would have to change the mold to make it more proper, obviously, the actual casting.
Yeah.
But they're up to
literally change.
They're up to making alternative steering box for that idea that your dad has, which sounds great. I said on the show, that's one of the reasons when I race or hot lap the sprint car, um, it's probably the most uncomfortable car in the world because your knees are right there on the box. I mean, luckily now they got the half
Oh,
boxes.
absolutely.
The most comfortable car I've ever been in is the big block, but that's because you have the space there. You're sitting the same way as a sprint car. You just have another 10 inches of space in front of your knees. So, but KSC's
Right.
open to building a separate cast of a steering box to attempt your dad's idea, which to me was the best idea of anyone at the meeting or anyone I talked to try to add pitch with the current problem. The big
Well,
problem is with the current car that hasn't ever changed. That's like one of the only ideas that kind of makes sense that could be better was your dad's.
well, I mean, yeah, and of course, I mean, it's common sense that that's gonna work. Like, it's obvious. But the problem is not thinking of the idea of how to do it, it's having to do it. Because again, you would have to literally reinvent the wheel to make that happen. I mean, everything in the cockpit of a sprint car has to change. And not even just the cockpit, you have to change the entire design of a sprint car frame to pull that off.
Yeah,
I mean,
they were
you're talking
saying
about
that
moving
rail,
you're
that
talking about
rail.
moving your steering gear.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
mean,
what
when you
they
got to
were
move it
saying. They would
forward
have to.
8 inches.
Sorry, not trying to cut you off twice, but that's what they were saying. They would have to change the cast for that, and then obviously the manufacturers of the chassis would have to change that bar they have that actually where the steering wheel mounts.
Yeah, you would have to move everything in the cockpit of a sprint car just to get the steering wheel or the seat to have more pitch in it. And when you look at it, look at a late model, modified, any type of door car, you see these guys laying flat on their wheels all the time. And I'm not going to say they're fine, but I mean they're fine. So I mean, in my opinion, that's what needs to happen. It's going to take probably 5 years to get that to happen, but at some point, I think it will, and everything's moving in the right direction on the safety deal.
Do you that'd be interesting to know if he has a picture of a cockpit where he's done something like that because he said he's done it before. That'd be interesting to know what it looks like.
Well, he's got drawings. I can't share those, but he's got drawings of it. I mean, it's something he's thought about for years, and I mean, it all makes sense. But
But he said he's done it
it just
before
needs to
too.
be talked. Oh, not physically, no.
Okay.
There hasn't been never built a car to do it.
Okay.
But I mean, it's been drawn. I mean, everything's been thought out. It's to the point now where it just needs to be executed.
Okay. So this new year with you with this 12X team, how's that worked out so far? How did it even come to be?
I mean, we can just start from the beginning of the deal. I mean, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave Johnny by any means. I mean, we just got going pretty good. But at the end of the day, in Johnny's position, it kind of all comes down to sponsorship and what I bring to the table. Well, unfortunately, we couldn't come to an agreement on it, and it sucks, but it is what it is ultimately. But so I was in a kind of a pinch. I mean, I didn't really have anything coming up. I mean, I had a few deals, but nothing like what I wanted to really go do. And then Hank made his move to go do it. He did, and ultimately it just opened up a deal for me. Which Billy and them, all their guys, they reached out to us last year about running their car, and they just weren't fully. They didn't have their program built up to what it kind of needed to be, and so we just kind of bounced around. I mean, obviously I went and raced for Dutcher for the first part of the year. Then I ended up with Johnny, and now they're getting to the point where they have a real solid sprint car team. So now is just the time to kind of pounce on it. And obviously Hank quit, so it just opened it up, and I just kind of fell right into my lap, honestly.
Well, and then that was on the heels of the Outlaw Tour. What was running the Outlaw Tour even like? Obviously, started out pretty quick with the quick times down there at Volusia. It looked like it got rough throughout the year. Is a year on the Outlaw Tour different than anything you thought of, or was it more so you're just in it and it's happening? You know,
Well, I mean, it happened so fast.
because you
Like,
raced a
obviously
decent
I was
amount
really
in the
fast.
South, technically, right? I mean, you raced as much as you could growing up.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I raced a decent bit, but I didn't race. I mean, not what you would consider to be a lot. I mean, there was one year where I ran like 45 races, and that was to me a lot.
That's a lot
Like the
for the
year before
South.
that, I ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. But I mean, I ran the year before that, I ran like 25 races. So, one, I was completely not prepared for it at all, and I mean, going into Florida, like, yeah, we were really fast, but I went into everything with a really clear mind. I had zero expectation, and I got really lucky. I started out as fast as you could ever possibly be, and just that, like, my confidence was through the roof. I was like, man, this might not be as tough as I think it is. Like, maybe I'm a little bit better than I think I am. Well, then I got humbled incredibly quickly, and once you go from being as good as you were, and I was running really good at home, you go to Florida, you run really good, you're on top of the world basically. Then you go to the next few weeks and you're struggling to run 15th, you run 10th, and it's like, wow, this is a really good night. And you get into that pattern of just, you run 15th and it's tough, you get burnt out, and the mental side of it is the hardest part of doing that. And most people don't think about it like that. I mean, being 16 doing it didn't help me at all because I had no clue anything about life. So I had to learn all that on top of figuring out how to race with these guys. So it was just tough. I mean, it's hard to do when you don't have really any experience. And I'm super grateful for it. I mean, it taught me life lessons I'll appreciate forever. And it was really awesome to do. But looking back on it, I should have waited, and I should have built my confidence up in the 410, and I should have been more prepared for it. But again, at the time, I mean, I was running out of options with my dad running the racetrack. My schedule was about to get cut in half of what was already a pretty small schedule. So I just had to pounce on it. And like I said, I'm forever grateful for what I did. Like I have no regrets. But yeah, I mean, I have so many takeaways. I could sit here and talk about it for hours, but my main deal is just the mental side of doing that is, I mean, it's as tough as you can think of, really.
Well, and I remember being high on it when it started, and then when it started falling off, getting grief from people, and I was in explanations, and I was like, I get you are used to Gio Scelzi and everybody coming from California at 16 and Kofoids, and we're used to these young drivers just hitting the scenes, and if they get a big ride, they go. Um, it is a little different, and I was saying, like, coming from that southern region, and it's not a true disrespect to the people racing down there, but it is such a jump in comparison to somebody coming out of California or coming out of PA or coming out of the Midwest. I think in comparison
Yeah.
down there, it's kind of like most people do like a roller coaster where they just start, like, I would say, in Texas, and then they, like, almost Aaron Reitzel, he went up to Knoxville 410, Arizona 410, and then he went up to All Stars and then the Outlaws and High Limit. And it's like you went from local, and then you went all the way to the top, and then you drop down to the regional stuff with the Dutcher and the regional stuff with Herrera, and then now you're like in this down effect, but you're trying to reestablish after already It's just like you went up so fast. It was like you didn't
Right.
get that PA regional experience or the California regional experience. It's not a knock on the South, really. I think there's some good drivers down there. I think there's definitely track styles that the stuff you learn down there can make you better than some of the guys from the other regions, but it's very specific, like a Riverside or a short track. I think a guy from the South or a very slick track can do very well. But did you
Right.
notice that big gap after the fact, like after the Outlaw Tour, going from down there to the Outlaw Tour and then into the other regions? I feel like that's where you kind of learn, like, the levels in between, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. I don't want to say that racing down here is any. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not competitive, but it's not even close
It don't have the
to
money in
a
the
national race.
teams. It don't have the money in the
Right.
teams.
Well, and at the end of the day, I mean, racing in the South and the sprint car deal, I mean, I'm not going to say it's hobby racing, but it's almost hobby racing. So you're going from guys that do this because they love it to guys that do this because, one, because they love it, but two, because it's their job. It's what they do for a living. So just the competitiveness of it is so much different. I mean, these guys, like, you have your top national guys. Most people don't realize how fast these guys really are. I mean, it's pretty incredible to race against them. And same deal when you go on like a power I race or something. Just the aggressiveness of it and just the overall speed these guys have is crazy. And I mean, it's hard to see that if you're not, involved in it. But I don't want to call it a skill gap, but it's almost a skill gap. And the skill gap from what I was doing before to what I was doing with Jay on the Outlaw deal is, I mean, it's incredible. And it's almost something you just have to experience to truly understand it.
I think it's financial gap as well. Probably more so than anything. I think that's why you see the 305 scene down there being your dominant class most of the time, at least Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma. I think that's also why, your really good ASCS teams are kind of the guys with the money, the really good ones, with the little experience and skill. Um, but at the end of the day, a ASCS national operation in that little region down there, even if you're regional, I don't think they're not even close to spending the money that say like a Macri spending or a Tommy Tarleton on the West Coast or a Brian Brown team in the Midwest or one of these
Right.
regional powerhouse teams, the money, and then you add in 10 other guys that are spending just as much just in these
Right.
regional areas. I think that's really the separation more so than talent. It's just equipment.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, you can put this on money, but a lot of what it falls back on is how many races these guys are running and the resources they have. I mean, when you're running 80 races a year, you're getting 4 times the experience of a lot of the local guys. On top of, these guys have resources like crazy. I mean, they have everything. I mean, between shock dynos, bar dynos, pull down rigs, I mean, they have the whole 9 yards. And I think that's what separates a lot of these guys more than anything. And granted, yeah, that falls back on the money, but at the same time, your top teams are a business. They're not doing this because it's fun. They're doing this because it's a business. So, I mean, there's a few factors in it ultimately.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the most shocking thing about Houston, which was probably one of your best races last year. But the shop up there, I mean, you go into it and you go. I've been into a bunch of outlaw shops or high profile PA teams and California teams, and most of the time they got equipment in there, this, that, and the other, maybe some little special item here or there. But you go into the Houston shop and they basically
But
have a machine shop in the shop. Like Cody
uh, it's the same
has
deal it's the same deal
everything.
at TSR.
Same thing at TSR,
Right.
you're saying?
I mean, and it's the same deal with all your top teams. I mean, look at Rico. Ricky Warner understands every aspect of a sprint car between motors, shocks, bars, like the whole deal. So when you got guys like Ricky who work on these race cars and they understand every aspect of it between literally everything, and you got guys that have money that can afford all these resources, they're going to be superior to every other team. I mean, that's just how it works. It's no different than the NASCAR world. The guys with the most resources are the guys that are superior, obviously. So, I mean, in my opinion, it all falls back on, how much effort you put into a race team is what you're going to get out of it. How much money you're spending, what you're doing, how much work's going into it is what I mean, that's just what proves.
Right. And it's not just maintenance work. I feel like people that hear work, like that's what I'm saying. It's not just getting things ready and cleaning and polishing. Like when you see that machine shops that these guys have, and then you have a mind like a Ricky Warner or a Cody Jacobs, you start realizing real quick that, yeah, you could go buy every piece that David Gravel's car has got in the same size, this and the same bars and the same everything. But
Yeah, it's
these
about
guys are
knowing how to
going in
use it.
there. Yeah, they're going in. Well, they're also going into that machine shop and customizing pieces on those items. They're also that's where the speed's being made, little bitty tweaks here and there all over the car.
I mean, yeah, for sure. That's definitely part of it. But I mean, you take a guy like Paul Silva. He's an incredible crew chief, not because he can make a race car go fast. He's as good as he is. One, because he understands the race car, but two, because of the work he puts in, the resources he has but more just how meticulous he is with everything. His race car is perfect every single night. He's not doing anything crazy. Kyle Larson's race car is no different than any other race car in the pits. One, Kyle is an incredible race car driver. He's an alien. He's just incredible.
Of
But
course.
Paul he's really dialed in on the small things. Same deal with Ricky Warner. These guys aren't running different setups than we've got. Like, we're all on similar stuff.
I think it's custom parts.
You can say custom parts. I don't think. I mean, yeah, that exists, but that's not. I mean, that's not much. There's not enough parts on a race car that can be custom to make it any faster.
Whether it's a bend here or bend there, or shave this piece and shave that piece, I think that they got their program. I think that's why they say our program a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just have everything specific to what they need and what they do, and that's just what makes you superior. I mean, Paul Silva, he's a really good fabricator. He's good at every single part of the race car, so that's what makes those guys stand out. And you can pin that on money, whatever, but Paul Silva on the 57 car with Shane Stewart running ASCS in 2010 was no different. I mean, these guys are really dialed in on the small details of what goes on a sprint car. So that's just what makes them superior.
Well, and combo matters. That's why I think, Donnie could still do something. I mean, the greatest example of a driver, car, crew chief, combo, can make the difference, honestly, is Ryan Timms. That's the best example in the world. A lot of people were writing Timms off for a while there, and then he gets with that Liebig crew, and Liebig does something to the car that he likes, and they're gelling, and the turns are working here, turns are working there, and then all of a sudden Ryan Timms is Knoxville National Champion, and Port Royal on the fence.
Yeah.
But that's a combo. That is an example of, like, if you get into the right combination, you can be just almost anybody and start doing some damage. Ryan Timms, they wouldn't even said he was a somebody a year ago. They would have said, "Oh yeah, that guy who was good."
And it doesn't. You can't just be anybody and be Shane Liebig. Shane,
well, that's what I'm saying.
Walk up to Shane, you wouldn't.
But
think
Shane had some drivers as well that didn't.
One of those guys.
I'm just saying, but Shane had drivers. I'm not discrediting Ryan in that. It's the combo. I'm not saying Shane isn't a thing and Ryan isn't a thing. I'm saying that combo of them together made that happen, because he had some drivers in there that didn't do what Timms could do with it.
Well, I mean, Ryan's a really good race car driver. I mean, that's obvious. But, I mean, another deal, too, is they have chemistry like most teams don't have. I mean, I raced with them all year. I experienced it. Shane, Marty, Ryan, those guys get along as good as anybody. I mean, that's a family. So you got to factor that in, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, another big deal is just the chemistry between a driver and a crew chief. And yeah, I mean, they're going to scream at each other every once in a while and want to kill each other, but that is what makes a team. Look at Donnie with Ricky Warner. I mean, you would think they hated each other, but they were fast. They won every single race together. And that type of relationship, I think, is what does more for a race team than anything.
Well, it depends on who you are as a driver, too. I mean, some people respond to get like the football coach that grabs the helmet and yells, and some people don't. Some people work in different ways. Horses are different, so
it falls back on your upbringing for sure. See, somebody talked about wind tunnels with sprint cars. That is definitely a thing, but it's not super common.
Yeah, I don't think it's super common either. 5-star getting their body involved will be interesting to see what they do, because they obviously have wind tunnel access since they deal with asphalt cars all the time. So
right,
the bodies and everything.
I looked at it at PRI, and honestly, there's not much different about the 5-star body to many other bodies. I mean, it's all pretty similar.
I mean, you could say that, but there's things you could see in the wind tunnel that are insane. Millimeters of a bend here or a bend there can change the whole way that car cuts through the air, and you can't see it. I mean, look at how long
a sprint car makes way more force than most people probably think.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's definitely.
I can go and see. I can tell you right now. an inch on the top wing wicker bill on a wind tunnel is 500 pounds between a 1 inch or a 1 inch wicker bill to a 2 inch.
Right. Right.
You
So
can
I
think
mean,
about how much that is.
it depends. It depends. I mean, the turbulence of a sprint car is not studied well, I don't think either, especially in a full pack.
Probably not. I mean, a sprint car makes almost 150,000 pounds of force, so there's a lot there that I feel like should probably be studied more. But also at the same time, we can't do anything because of the rules. Like, what are you gonna do? You know?
Right. What do you feel about the short track nationals being an outlaw show? I think it's the perfect thing, potentially giving the South a crown jewel big event, a major, as some people are calling these bigger races where both sides are on. Me, of course, coming up in the South, Winter Nationals was a major. Obviously, it was one of the first outlaw races in the country. Spring Nationals, Winter Nationals, but Short Track Nationals was right there with it. Obviously, Devil's Bowl's gone. Short Track Nationals kind of is the South's only marquee race remaining. What do you think about it being a
Oh,
Saturday?
absolutely.
What do you think about it being a Friday, Saturday show? Jason Johnson. I don't know how much that race means to you. Obviously, it's Crawleyville over there, so.
No, I mean, obviously Jason's from that area, so if you're gonna ask me, I'm gonna say I think it's huge, and I'm not saying that because my dad runs the racetrack. I mean, you can ask my dad how much I dislike that place. I love racing
Yeah,
there,
like I said,
but
it's
I
huge.
don't like.
I mean, it's a huge event.
But
That
no,
event.
it's huge. It's huge for that region. I mean, we have nothing down here really. Yeah, the Outlaws come to Texas at the beginning of the year, but there's no big races. They go down there, in my opinion, almost to just fill the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's huge for our region, and it's awesome that it's at my dad's racetrack. I mean, that part to me, I mean, that means a ton. And yeah, back to it being short track. Short track was a crown jewel race for the 360 deal for a long time. I mean, you
Even
go
for the
look through the
410 to
guys that
begin
have won
with.
the
I
race.
mean, it was a
Yeah, I mean,
410
you go
race
look
originally.
on that race. It's a pretty stout list. So yeah, I think it's huge. I'm excited for it, especially with it being the Jason Johnson race. I mean, that's another really big deal. It just and there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on at Texarkana. It's got a ton of improvements to still going, but I mean, I know what the vision is for that place, and I mean I can confidently say 5 years from now I could see short track being a crown jewel race as long as there's people there that can bring some money into it and can help further the event. It's going to take time to get it back on the map, and even short track this year. I mean, it didn't go perfect, and I mean, of course, could have been better, but it was still a solid turnout. I mean, so there's a ton of potential there. I mean, I'm really excited for it for sure. I'm praying everything goes good, and I really hope that people can tune into it and see how awesome of a racetrack Texarkana is. I mean, it's got a ton of potential.
Yeah, I remember going there as a kid, and it was a hell of a racetrack. It reminded me of I-30. Cowtown was one of my favorite tracks when I was growing up in the DFW area. High bank quarter miles always were fun and exciting. The guy who won that race, though, was a Camouflage 11J, Paul Sides. He was really good back in that day. But it's always been a really high bank track. Of course, the wall being around it, that's a new addition. That was never before, but that's good for building cushions. It should be a good race. What do you mean as far as improvements coming in the future? Are you saying they're going to build stands all the way around it and make it like Bristol, or what?
Well, it may not be the Coliseum that Bristol is, but I mean, at some point, I mean, there's going to be suites around the place. There's going to be signage. There's going to be more stands, more parking, and honestly, the racetrack's in a primo location. I mean, you couldn't ask for it to be in a better spot. It's right off the side of the interstate. So, I mean, everything about the location of the place is good. The vision of the track is good, and it just keeps improving. The facility is already, I mean, it's solid. I'm not going to say it's as good as it gets. It's not Lucas Oil, but the potential for it to be close to that is there. And I'll go ahead and say at some point it will be there. And it all falls back on finding people to support it. But ultimately, the ultimate goal for what short track and Jason Johnson Classic will be, it's huge. And I just hope that people will catch on to it. I mean, we're not in a sprint car area at all. So
Well, I mean, that's also the
hopefully,
problem with that
right,
area, though, is you're not in a race fan area either. It's just weekly events down there are almost impossible to sustain. I feel like for any track down there in the south region of the country, especially that. I mean, there's some race fans. Not saying there's none, but your regular weekly events. I know they're crying about it in PA and California and stuff like that, but they have no idea. Down there, it's extremely hard to do weekly racing. You almost have to build a short track nationals and then maybe another big late. You almost have to go the Eldora route where you have like 2 or 3
right.
home run hitters and you got this giant facility, that makes money.
Well, and at first that was the aspect of what Texarkana was going to be. It was going to be one of those places that ran 15 races a year and had 15 good races. But it's so tough to do that, and you almost have to have weekly racing to support a racetrack. And it's not just down there. I mean, it's everywhere. Weekly
Right.
racing is struggling so bad right now. I don't think most people realize it unless you're on the inside of it. But I mean, weekly racing it's bad. It's terrible,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's a
And there's
losing
still
money
some
proposition. You're
that,
losing money.
oh, absolutely. You're banking off your big races. That's the only place. That's the time that
Right.
you're going to do good with it. So, and
Well, I
and
mean,
weekly racing in that area is substantially worse.
well, let's just take Eldora for an example. I think they run 11 races total. And maybe not even that. I think it's 11 nights. I think it's more so like 6 events
Right.
or 7 events, and the Four Crown kind of bombs. I mean, their little
Yeah.
Applegate race is kind of empty. I mean, they have a facility there really that makes money 3 times a year, and that's the 2 late model shows
Right.
and the one in the King's Royal. And that's
So when you
that's
get 30,000 people, that covers plenty. But you have to
well,
have those
if you
big
build
races
stands
to
around
do.
67 Bristol style, now you have the capabilities to do that.
Well, you can have all the facility you want, but you have to have the people to show up.
Well, that's true. I do think that the event that's coming is close to doing that. That could be the one right now. I think that's possible. A big late mall event there
Well,
could
I mean,
work too. Obviously, there's late mall support in that region.
well, and that's the other deal too. I mean, a late model race down there would be really good, but it'd have to be a flow racing, Lucas Oil, whatever you want to call it, series. And even the World of Outlaws races, the late model deal, they don't
Yeah.
do that incredible down there.
Boot Hill was
I mean, it's
packed.
pulling teeth. Yeah, but Boot Hill is packed on a weekly race. So, I mean, you almost have to write that one off. That place always does good. They have their diehard fan base. Texarkana doesn't, so it needs more of the national series down there, and it just needs building. Ultimately, it just needs building,
Well,
and it needs people to come support it.
and I know you said you're not a Lucas Oil facility, but Lucas Oil would trade their facility with you if they could trade the location by far. Like you said,
Yeah,
it's off the
absolutely.
side of the highway, but it's like what, 10 minutes, 5 minutes from not a major metropolitan. It's not huge, Texarkana, but it's every bit as big as Tulsa, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. It's Texarkana is growing constantly, so there's so much potential for where that racetrack is.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean it's got the
But
ability. You could fly in, you could fly out. The track's right down the road. After the races, there's so many things to do. It has the combination that if it is invested into properly, I think one big late model, one big sprint car show. I think the sprint car show is kind of solidified now. And I don't really think there's too many sprint car shows, even when you look at the big ones that are 20,000 each night. Yeah, they got the 6-figure paydays, but 20K 2 nights in a row don't happen a lot right now.
there's not. But I mean, to me, it almost seems like you have to put up 100,000 for fans to really, get involved in it.
Or you just have to have a badass show.
It
I
seems,
mean, it just needs that. It needs the
yeah, or that.
stage. It needs the stage. Look at what Red Dirt got, for crying out loud. Just because they had a little bit of
Yeah.
a stage
Well,
and
I
a
mean,
decent race.
If you go back and watch the ASCS race at Texarkana, it's one of the best races I've ever watched in my life, and I don't feel like it got the credit it deserved because it was truly an amazing race.
You also
I
have
mean,
to
it got a little bit of love for
you
it.
do have to have the name involved. Obviously, it was Larson and Reitzel going at it at Red Dirt, for instance. So
Oh, that's true. Well,
you ju-
that's the biggest thing. I mean, if you're a racer and you want to watch the people that you see on TV every week, you want to see your NASCAR drivers and you want to see your top guys. So, I mean, it takes a lot to get a lot, but it's hard to do.
well, and you got to also understand that I would say at least at the bigger events, 40% of the audience watching is usually or is the racers. So like what I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
like ASCS drivers are watching Kings Royal and Knoxville Nationals, whereas outlaw drivers ain't watching an ASCS race. So
No.
that's also a part of it as well because those people are attached to their local sponsors, and the local sponsors now want to go too. So, and I think that's the biggest issue with the micro scene. For instance, I think that's why football's so big. For instance, you got the high school and the local area levels, and everybody wants to see what they're doing, but the pro version of it. And I think micros
Well,
costing as much as they do now, we don't have a budget class for regular people to get involved in and then look up to the national stuff anymore. So we don't really have
not
budget
in
classes.
the open.
Well, sorry.
There's no open wheel class right that you can go do for at a reasonable financial point. There's not anything.
Right. That's what micros used to be until, they all came along with their carbon fibers and there almost needs to be a new micro division, like a budget or a econo micro or something where you outlaw all the fancy parts, let it still be a stock motor. The
Right.
motor's kind of not the issue, but get rid of the fancy shit yes, it adds a tenth here and a half tenth there, but it also costs 5 to 10,000 for each of those half tenths.
Well, and I think that's what's going to come of the 305 deal. I mean, ultimately, 305s are working in the right direction, and I think at some point, a 305 sprint car could be what a micro was. I mean, the price point's not crazy. It's not cheap by any means, but racing isn't cheap. But it's not absurd. I mean, the micro deal, you're pouring so much money into that. It's crazy. I mean, a frame and body for a mini sprint costs as much as a sprint car right now, and the motors aren't a whole lot better.
Yeah, the only issue with that, you're right, but the only issue with that is I wouldn't feel too worried about taking Jim Bob out of the grandstands and taking him to a little 8th mile or 5th mile track and letting him drive a micro for the first time, But I might have a problem with him going to a quarter mile and jumping in a fucking it's still a 305, but it's a sprint car now. Now we're not in a micro running 45, 50. We're in a sprint car running 85, 90 on a short track and 100 plus on a bigger one. I think that was also the element. It
I
was
mean,
kind of that safe class.
I can see both sides of it. And I mean, the other deal too, I feel like, in my honest opinion, I think the Outlaw Kart deal right now is better than the micros as far as a, 14 and under class. I think the Outlaw Karts is probably what should be superior. More, it teaches you what you need to learn to go race a sprint car, and it just teaches you more, and it's cheaper ultimately. And
You could buy speed in those, though,
but the
too.
305 deal, well, you can buy speed in anything. I mean, that you'll never prevent that. It's not possible. But the 305 deal, I mean, I feel like is a decent beginner's class. I mean, it's not overly competitive. It's pretty simple, and I mean, it's something you can get your feet wet in. And I mean, I feel like the way you're looking at it, you're worried about a guy that's never really drove anything getting in it and getting hurt, but a guy that's never really
or
drove
hurting
anything isn't going
you
to get
or
in it
another
and,
guy, And the
oh,
tire
trust me, I've
bill,
been in that
the
situation.
tire bill is the problem with the 305 is the tire bill is just as much most of the time. That's the other problem.
Well, if you're that worried about the bill, it's a hobby that probably isn't financially available to begin with.
Once again, but
So-
that's also the problem. We don't have enough people doing it to then be fans of it. So that's what I'm saying. We don't have a budget, normal, open wheel car. I think that's why the fender world's so big, is because so many people can't afford 4-cylinder or a little hobby stock, or you got a lot of these little fendered classes,
Well,
and they all look up to the big modified and late model guys. I think that's also another reason why their industry's bigger. They have more feeder fans, they have more.
absolutely.
Like,
And like Raymond just said with the Speedster deal, I think that's another really
yeah,
good class. I mean,
yeah,
it's financially available, and everything about that class it makes sense. I wish Speedsters were more common in other places other than just Pennsylvania. That needs to be a thing all around the country.
the micro cartel does not like that car. We want to talk about motor cartels and Hoosiers, and the micro cartel
Well,
guaranteed does not want that car to be known about at all.
well, I'm sure they don't, but they don't want it to be known because they're losing money on it. I
Oh,
mean,
100%.
ultimately,
Yeah.
and it sucks. That's the way it works, but that's just the way it works. But no, that class is a very good beginner class. Everything about the Speedsters is good. I mean,
Yeah.
everything. They check all the boxes, in my opinion. That's what needs to be more prevalent.
Yeah, that needs to become a national division. The craziest thing I've seen with those is the 75 lapper they do at Selinsgrove. Could you imagine dropping that
I,
car in at Selinsgrove?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
That's a thing at
Yeah,
Selinsgrove.
I mean, they're basically a non-wing sprint car just tamed down.
Yeah. Well,
Those
they're
things are
small
cool,
too.
dude. I want to drive one.
They're a little bigger than a midget, I guess. Yeah, just barely though. They're not too much bigger than a midget. Just barely. But I
A 410 class tamed down is almost impossible just because of how much a motor costs.
yeah. Yeah, you'd almost have to. Well, the LS motor, I'm interested to see how the LS motor in Canada does. That'll be very interesting.
I think that'll be good. It's a really solid base.
Okay. Well, it is getting late. I don't want to keep you up too longer. So, my only development, we were talking about safety earlier, because I was really liking your dad's idea. Talk to KSC about it. They think they would oblige the idea. I have an idea though. I think the only way, I still say the car's the issue. I think the only way to properly address a newer car is we have to find a way to, and I'm talking to a few chassis guys, not the big names, but it's going to have to be an oddball guy who, wants to do something. I'm thinking a 92 to 94-inch car has to be made that can compete with the 86s to 88s. And that's the only way you're going to get a newer car is if you actually build a bigger car that can then compete. Because it's hard for an 88 to keep up with these 6s and 7s. So going up 7 more inches is going to be almost impossible. But I'm thinking, you build a car like that, you get some minds like Sammy or Dale Blaney involved, and you could maybe make something happen. I'm just thinking, what's your opinions?
Well, it will never be possible to make a 90+ inch car work with what we're running right now. It's just not.
You don't think it could be competitive?
Not physically. No, I don't think there's any way.
Even if you widened it up a little bit, gave it more stance, it could dominate a track like Knoxville. It could technically be more dominant.
It could roll around the track good, but it's just not going to be as stuck or have as much drive as a short car is going to have. I mean, you got to think about it too. A long wheelbase car is just going to be lazier. Everything's going to react a little bit slower,
which may benefit on a bigger track.
There's no way for it to benefit. You got to have drive at all times. I mean,
did you see the car that Dale Blaney and Dave won the race with? Did you see that thing?
Well, yeah, but that's going to be a standard wheelbase car on everything else.
What is everything else? This is what I'm saying.
I don't know.
This is what I'm saying. Can you take a 94 and put all this everything else on there and find something that could at least keep up? I think that's the only way possible to have this is all I'm saying, to actually have a safer alternative to race sprint cars. That's the only other option. outside of your steering arms and everything. I think that's the only option is if you could develop a car that is bigger but can compete with the ones currently running. It would be hard. I'm not saying it's easy. That's just my only idea.
So it would take years and years of R&D to make that work. I mean, you'd have to test that with a ton of people, and there'd have to be a ton of people involved in on it, and it would take a lot. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but it would take so much resource that it'd almost be impossible in this level of sport. I mean,
You gotta
think
look at it
some
like a
point it could be
Cadillac. You
possible.
gotta look at it like a Cadillac, though. We're gonna put like instead of the fire suppression bottle on the top all clamped on, we'll have like an actual welded encased box for the fire suppression. The stuff will go all through there. We'll have a little water bottle compartment. It'll be like a Cadillac. You'll have all this room. There'll be like leather seats, heated steering wheel. I'm just thinking you could do so much if you just open up that compartment that I
Well,
don't know. I'm just thinking of all the safety. You could have crush zones now. You can have steel plated compartments that I'm just
sprint cars
saying
aren't cattle.
that's
The whole
what we're trying
mindset
to
of a
get
sprint
away
car is
from.
how
That's what we're trying to
rapid.
get away from, though, Landon. I know you might want to die in a car. It's very noble. I mean, maybe that's what you think is cool, but I don't. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, I mean, I want to be as safe as possible at all times, but right now there's not much. Racing's dangerous. There's no way around it, and there's no way to just have an instant fix. I mean, it's going to take years and years of research and just slow progression to get to that point. I don't think there'll be a time where you can just go build a 100-inch race car and make it fast. That will never be possible. It's going to take. I mean, you're going to have to reinvent the wheel at some point to make it work. And it's going to be hard to get everybody on board for it, but at some point it'll happen. I don't know how long it's going to take, but sometime within the next 15 years, I could see a sprint car looking completely different than what we see now, and we'll have what you could consider a somewhat safe race car. It's going to take time. It's going to take people getting involved in on it, and we're working in the right direction. We're really, really fresh on the safety department. This is something, in my opinion, that hasn't really been thought about until the last 5-10 years. So everything's fresh, and it's just going to take time to be able to see, what happens.
Well, and like the rule book almost has to be thrown out. I see the comment about the 90 inches as the law, but and this is what I said to Pittman and all these people. This next gen sprint car idea that I throw it around, they think it's crazy and all that. And I'm like, yeah, it is. They're like, well, nobody can afford it. I'm like, you're thinking too small. You go and study NASCAR. When you go and study, any IndyCar, for instance, when they go to another model car, it's only a certain amount of people who can afford the newer model car. And so what happens is that's how you get to Hendrick and Gibbs and Penske as these giant conglomerates, because they were the only few that could afford to innovate in safety like the COT era. And they're like, oh, well, there's not enough people in sprint car racing to do that. Okay, maybe not right now, but in 3 years, we're going to have 15 high limit teams franchise. I would assume World of Outlaws is going to be somewhere close to 15 as well. And then if they get to a point where they're like, hey, let's just all come together, then you'll have a total of 30 cars. So at that point, if you want to be safer and some big driver dies in 3 or 4 years, then you come out with a new car that the 30 teams that are the national tour can afford. And that's your new national sprint car tour group. And that's technically what NASCAR did. And then that's why you had ARCA. So then, like, everybody who would be against that new car with those 30 teams on the national scene, they would become ARCA, because ARCA ran the old Cup car while NASCAR was doing COT for like 10 years. And so did a bunch of other series. So I think, honestly, if a new car, a new design, or all this doesn't happen, there is going to be a new car. And it's going to be so fucking so expensive that these groups, these rich people, the top 30 people in sprint car racing with the 15 franchises from High Limit and the 15 from the Outlaws, they're going to be the only ones who can afford it, and you're going to have a national sprint car tour with 30 cars, and that's going to be it. That's what I think. And then the few other teams who can afford it, then they'll get to race, and that's it.
I mean, I think at some point there will be a point where there's something like a car of tomorrow, but it's going to take a lot. I mean, it's going to take 10 guys getting together, like my dad, Brian Cheney. It's going to take those type guys to get in and make it happen. And right now it's just waiting on that to happen. I mean, like I said, we're moving in the right direction. It all falls back on time and how long it's going to take. And I don't think money is the problem. Like I don't think money is holding anything back. I mean, everybody that races a sprint car wants to be safer in a sprint car. So ultimately it's going to happen. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, but the people who have the chassis jigs made and chassis made and purchased, they don't want to just throw them away and get something new. That's a lot of money. And then obviously if you have a sprint car to tomorrow, what also happens is that you have contracts. Like I was in PRI, I went to eat at a restaurant, and I ran into a guy who's got the contract who makes all the transmissions for Penske and Hendrick. He's contracted from the United Kingdom to make $80,000 transmissions, and no one else can make them. And that's what happens. Like with the new cars of tomorrow that NASCAR had, you had a few people who were contracted by NASCAR to make these cars. Well, that's the next gen, sorry. But there's only one company that makes all the cars, and that's the business. It'll just be business when it happens.
I mean, obviously, I can't say if that's going to happen. I don't think anybody knows. I mean, I doubt anybody expected that to come in NASCAR. But in my opinion, that started in NASCAR because of your guys like Childress and you have your top teams, and that's where that came from. Here, there's so many top teams. The quantity of it's so much bigger. I don't feel like that's going to happen. I mean, it's a tight-knit group, and I think it will be forever. So, I mean, like I said,
but I hear what you're saying, money. I hear what you're saying, top teams, but I think you're also underestimating what top is. Like we are, like when we were in the building at PRI, we're in the cheapest race car in the building, like by far. Like when we talk about people who have money, like if a sprint car costs $300,000 to build, now everybody don't have top tier money. Now only a few guys do. That's why I'm saying that's how you get to your Penske's, Hendricks, and Childresses, is you start outpricing the little guy. And the little guy is us right now. We're race ready for $100,000. That's insane to the rest of that building at PRI. That's crazy.
Yeah. But you also got to look at it this way, too. A sprint car is so simple. There's only so much you can do. So, I mean, you can pour as much money into it as you want, but it's a performance-wise, it's not going to make you any better.
Right. So, when you look at the other cars that are developed, safety is the only reason things start to cost more. That's what happens.
Yes and no. I mean,
tethers. Example, tethers. Not trying to cut you off, but example, tethers. Example, fire suppression system. Example, this and that. This is where the more money starts being implemented.
Yeah, there's money in it, but it's not an absurd amount of money. And that's another thing that it's needed to be in the sport. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to complain about having a fire bottle in their car. I mean, I've ran one forever, and I don't think money is going to be the issue. And our fire bottles are so small, there's never going to be a point where they cost an absurd amount of money.
Right.
I mean, you can bring technology into it, but what are you going to do? So we're almost at the point where we're flatlining what we can do.
Right. I mean, a new roller chassis for a late model is 45, 50, 60,000. We're still rolling at 20. I mean, what happens when that roller starts costing 80?
A $20,000. I don't. It's not possible though.
If it's safety,
I don't think it's possible to pour that money into a roller.
The more bars you put in, the more additions you make. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm sure the NASCAR people in 1999 were sitting back saying, "How is this car gonna all of a sudden double in price to make?" And it did. Just by adding some safety elements.
I can see. And I can see what you're saying, but it's going to take wholesale change for a sprint car to be drastic in price change. I mean, it's going to take a lot.
Right. It is always unfortunately done in the essence of safety. Look how fast they went to the Hans devices after Dale Sr. I mean, the softer barriers. I mean, back to contracts. Who got the contract on the safer barrier? They're $600 a foot. When you do the math on $600 a foot around every NASCAR track, that's a big contract. That's a lot of money in the essence of safety. We love
Well,
you. We don't want you to get hurt. But
we don't have
here's
to worry.
$45 million. Sorry.
That's a lot of money.
Sorry.
I see what you're saying, but I don't know if sprint cars will ever get to that point.
Okay.
Not a racetrack.
Big contract.
We'll see if they start. I think they're going to start separating the regular racing tracks and everything, and they're going to separate to the elite tracks and the elite teams in this process. That's what they did. NASCAR got away from their little tracks too. They went to the big, nice ones. It's the same type of process. Indy cars did it as well. I mean, that's what happens. You get away from your smaller facilities. I mean,
I hope they come to all the smaller tracks.
Better racing.
I'm an advocate of going back to smaller tracks.
Now they've learned after their 30-year lesson, though, right?
No, they need to come to the smaller tracks like mine.
NASCAR or the Outlaws?
Hey, I was talking. We had a full segment on probably not NASCAR.
I heard a little bit of it.
I don't think NASCAR is going to be coming to Texarkana anytime soon.
No, the short tracks are where the
we
best
might throw
racing
some
is.
asphalt on it. You know?
Well, if you ask the guy standing next to me, Texarkana is the best.
He got a confused look on his face yet?
Well, I'm waiting for proper response. I mean, we already talked about Texarkana being in a great location with a great future.
He ain't got it yet, does he?
What happened? Is he listening to the phone to respond? That's on delay.
He's standing right next to me.
Okay.
I don't know what he's listening to be honest. I just know he said he wants to reignite this boxing match.
Oh, okay.
You can see where we've made it to, what point we're at.
You're fine.
Hello, Chaz. I just got home.
Oh, you just got in from working at the track or what?
He just called in.
No, I've been at the office all day working on scheduling and just left another local shop. So just come in.
Scheduling for next year, you're saying?
Correct.
Anything special outside the Outlaw shows?
No, we got some late model stuff, some different things, but, you know, naturally the Jason Johnson and the WO announcements are a big announcement for the year, but we got a lot going on. But like I say, the biggest announcement for us at 67 definitely is JJR and WO.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about it. You know, you look at even Eldora, you know, that's kind of the base model for events tracks, I would say. They don't have a weekly show. You know, they really only nail about 3 shows out of the park. You know, the two late model shows and the Kings Royal. The other events, they get a crowd, but it's not a home run. Is that kind of what most tracks are trying to emulate now? Because weekly racing, I mean, it's just almost impossible to get that close, you know, anymore.
You know, I can't really. Our first year was solid rain, so we didn't get any basis or any numbers or anything to measure year one. So you got to throw year one completely out. When you go into year 2, we got a few more events in, and this year naturally we got quite a bit more in. So it actually took us all the way into 3 years of having the facility to get any kind of measuring stick or get, you know, kind of any kind of graph on what did work and didn't work. But personally, I mean, I don't. In the beginning, we said, yeah, we were going to be a special events facility only and not run any type weekly racing for points championship or anything along that nature. But then this year we did. I don't want to give up on the weekly racing just yet. We're going to push to try to get more push for our entertainment value in a short, quick show to see what that'll do us this year. I don't want to give up on the weekly racing yet because I feel like if we give up on the beginning, there's not going to be any end. You know, it's just like motocross and go-kart racing and grassroots. We're going to do everything we can to try to push and get our weekly deal elevated this year because I don't want to give up on it yet.
Is that like part of somewhat of a harvest effect? Like even though it's a lot of work to keep the weekly racing going, you're somewhat trying to, you know, water the crops in a way. So when you do have the big show up, you already got your base that's going to come, but then you're also going to add on top of it.
I, definitely don't have the answers because again, even though I raced my entire life and have probably 40 years and all that, I just don't want to. I just don't want to give up on the weekly deal. It's you call it whatever you want, watering the grass or however you want to look at it. It's just I feel like there's still a place for it, but I think we've got to just kind of think outside of the box and get more entertainment value at racing facilities, get more ties into what kids, when the family can come out, we got to have more kid activities. I just think there's got to be we just got to look at it different. If it's been failing the way it's been, that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So just trying to look at some things to get our entertainment value better from a family aspect. And like I say, that's going to be our focus point for this year. Is we definitely are going to try again to push another season of weekly races. So we've got our specials, but like I say, again, we're not going to give up on the grassroots just yet.
Something that was very interesting. You're bringing this up now that we're talking about weekly racing and a track. One of the seminars I guess I went to for an hour was success in grassroots racing. And one of the track owners did something that I had been talking about on my shows for years, and that is he went to his local state official office, and at his local state official office, he invited some of the actual officials out to a race, and they just had never heard of the track before. They visited it, had a decent time, and then the week after, they started blowing him up on how they could help. And now his track receives grants to put on events due to tourism and stuff like that. I feel like that's an avenue that not a lot of tracks have done. Have you ventured that route with trying to get because it's a decent sized city there. There's got to be some people in powerful positions that could, at least be invited out and check it out and know you are a thing, because that is something that tracks struggle with is local awareness.
Yeah, personally, I've tried to look at everything, but some of the issues is I don't care what racetrack you go to and what city or town, we're not sitting here with just checkbooks with unlimited dots and zeros. So, it would be different if I could go out and hire the right people to go out and do a certain amount of marketing or different avenues of research or trying to grab at those type things. But
are you offering me right now to come? Are you hiring me on the show right now, Tim, to come do this?
Well, I don't know if we're at that point yet or not, but everybody still works with limited resources, and they're basically just trying to do what they can with what's in front of them. And that ends up being you've only got so much time, so many resources, and then you have to sit down and do what you have to do.
Mm.
And so typical weeks for me is, I'm not crying the blues or anything, but when you're sitting there and you are the water truck driver and you are the guy that repairs the lights and you're the end of the day guy that's,
Yep.
calling the propane company and fixing toilets. And I mean, there's only so much you can do that's put in front of you. And then you just have to stop and say, okay, I don't have time to devote hours and hours and hours of just marketing. We have to water a racetrack. We have to prioritize what has to happen to make a show happen this weekend. And a lot of places are, a lot of facilities are in the same boat I am. It's just limited resources. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, you got so much to do that it almost becomes your manager.
Well, most people are not overfunded and overstaffed. They're generally underfunded and understaffed. And that's what most people don't understand on the promoting side. You have to back off and prioritize what has to be done to race every week. And that's why sometimes, people just don't understand what all is involved. And I'm not going to lie. I raced my entire life and thought I had all the answers and spent a lot of years going, if I own this racetrack, I'd do this. If I own the racetrack, I'd do that. And so now I'm getting a taste of it. And it's tough. It's an astronomical amount of work.
Right.
And I can attest to that firsthand now. So I'm not going to say I'm anywhere developed to the point of where I want to be, but I've definitely got my feet wet now. I got my confidence where I need it, but I also understand that there's still a lot to learn in this. But it's tough. It's a tough business for sure.
Well, Landon sounded like there was
so many different things we're dealing with today that, I feel like years ago, there was a time you could say, hey, this racetrack's here. It opens Saturday at 8 o'clock. 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 fans, whatever. They would just be there. You didn't have to do a lot to get them there. Today, we're competing against a lot. And if we don't present something that's entertaining to these people, they may come once, but they're not coming back. And then to get them there to begin with is hard. So I just think we've really got to work on our show, our fan interaction, stuff for the children to do, the kids. It's just going to take a lot of work to get people in the stands.
Well, Landon seems like he's pretty confident that y'all end up being a staple in the long run, like a big deal. You are in a good location. He was talking about y'all aren't to Lucas Oil level yet, but I told him like Lucas Oil would probably trade their facility to be that close to a major city. I think that's one of the issues Lucas Oil has is kind of being out in the middle of nowhere. Y'all are not in the middle of nowhere. There is access. There is ability to grow. The location is prime, for y'all.
I would say yes and no on that. I mean, if you're strictly talking about marquee events and big events, look at Eldora. That place, if you want to call it that, it's in the middle of a cornfield, sort of. It's in the middle of nowhere. But again, like y'all already talked about, I was listening to y'all on the way home. They limit the amount of shows. They don't concentrate on weekly shows. They're a marquee event facility. Wheatland, Lucas Oil's a little bit of the same way, but at the same time, it's we could back off and shoot for trying to create marquee events only. But one thing we run into, and this past season we went ahead and did it, is if you schedule 20 shows and Mother Nature don't like you that year, you still could end up only having 6 or 7. If you schedule 6 or 7 shows and Mother Nature doesn't like you, you might not have a race season at all. So that kind of come into play this past year. We went ahead and swung at the fences, booked a bunch of races, and lo and behold, we got a lot of them in. So I don't think there's any recipe anywhere for it. I wish there was, because I would look it up. But
Well, and
I just
obviously
grabbed
Eldora.
and listened and tried to a lot of people and tried to listen myself.
Well, and Eldora's obviously lucky with they can race till 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm sure y'all can too, but they got the loyalty fan base too that'll be there waiting. You know, the campgrounds deal's huge. I think that's why they could pull that off. You know, they get most of their grandstands is living there for the week or whatever. You know, so if they race to the end of the night or
Yeah,
they
but
delay a day, they're there.
look back. But any of your really big races right now, none of them, not one race out there that's a marquee event happened quick.
Right.
It took years. You know, your National Open, everything that goes on at Eldora has been a build. Lucas Oil come out of the gate with a unbelievable facility, but it still took some time for their events to grow.
And they're still
Eldora
trying to
took
make the sprint
years.
car.
Knoxville, yeah, Williams Grove, National Open, all those shows, that took years. There was, they didn't just come out of the gate monsters. It just took time of just grinding it out to build those events into what they were. It's like Short Track Nationals. I mean, it wasn't a monster day one. It just took time. And then, when Jerry Davis sat up there and get in his brown water and throw the bonuses out for Steve Kinzer to get beat, word got out, and man, one thing led to another, and just all of the years that the Clay family ground on that event, it grew. And that's where we're at. We're trying to grind ourselves.
So he was saying suites are coming. Are you building stands around it like Bristol? What's all going to happen? What's the future idea outside of the grind?
Well, we do know the importance of suites. We're fixing to get to work on that, and we've got, there's numbers. Everything turns into math, and your tickets sold is your math. So we know to have marquee events, we got to get X number of people to sit around to watch it. So we have plenty of parking. We can, we've got 60 acres of ground there. We got all kinds of parking. So the problem's not parking. We just seats and suites. I mean, that's what we've got to focus on. So,
are you going to have stands
we're
down the
gonna
back
try
straight
our
away,
best.
or
We're going to work with what's in the front just because of utilities, because of plumbing, electric, water. Utilities is on the front side of the property. Anytime you go all the way to the other side of something like that, then you turn into plumbing and electric and water and all your utilities. So we're going to build all we can on the front side first, and just try to get our numbers up that way. We've got room to grow with suites and quite a bit more seating in the front. So we're going to go into turn one and start building. We added about a 430 seat situation on the turn 4 end this year, earlier in the year. So now we're going to try to start going into turn 1 and expanding the seating we've got now.
Okay. Yeah, every time I think of quarter miles and Pinnacle, I think of Hobstadt, to be honest. I think they probably have the best setup for a quarter mile, where they got the stands down the front and the stands down the back. But that's probably the bigger issue why you don't see that anywhere else, is just plumbing and actual utilities. There's nothing ran. You'd have to dig up the whole ground and really construct stuff to make that happen.
Well, one of the problems that we run into with Texarkana, when they built the speedway, they went out in the back and dug a pond, and they put the dirt on top of a huge level, a flat surface. So our racetrack is elevated up. So for us to do anything, for you to be able to see over the wall, we have to start at 7-8 foot off the ground. So we don't have the luxury of, a lot of racetracks are built on the side of a hill or cut into the ground where you can tailgate or just pull up next to a wall, or we're not in that position. Our racetrack is 100% above ground. So to get to where you can see, you got to start at about an 8-foot elevation. So that creates a huge obstacle just right there in itself. So
Right. Well, at least you got the wall all the way around. That's different. That's probably
the
added to
wall
the
was a game
cushion.
changer. Oh, 100%. I mean, all day long you travel around. I mean, if you see marquee events or viral videos or shows, wow factor shows, I feel like all the time mostly come from racetracks with walls around them.
Right.
It's kind of a no-brainer to me. It's easier to develop a cushion and contain everybody in. It's better visibility. It's better sight. Your lights are more effective when they're bouncing off of a wall instead of light penetrating out into the beyond the top lip. And I just think the wall has a ton of benefits. It's easier on the maintenance side. You can bounce water off the wall. You can always come up with a better cushion and a better top, easier with a wall around it.
And then you said that's going to change. Are you putting a fence all the way around, or what do you mean?
The goal is, yes. The goal is to end up with a fence around it. We've got a lot of the piping and some of the cabling already on the facility, so it's just it's a work in progress. Yeah, that's the end goal is. I don't know if there is an actual end goal, but in the future, yes, we're planning on fencing around on top of the wall and seats and suites.
Okay.
And lighting. Continue to improve on the lighting. So.
Okay. Well, it's almost 2 hours. I've had y'all on the phone. I guess it's probably best to let y'all go. Almost 11 o'clock, 3 hour show at this point. But yeah, good to catch up with Lane. I did not see that happen. Did he tell you he accidentally paid me tonight?
Oh, really?
Yeah, you heard him in the
maybe somebody can pay me.
it was only what
Accidentally
$3.25. He accidentally paid me. Yes.
Yeah,
$3.50. All right.
monthly, but I won't cancel my subscription.
He's probably gonna already say it's a
I'll
fraud.
let y'all close this deal out. It's
A fraud charge.
been a long day.
Okay.
Right. So I guess you'll bless the facility with your presence come year's end.
I mean, it's going to be the baddest ass show of the year. I mean, I don't know if you heard my World of Outlaws schedule review, but
I don't know how you can miss.
it's the best addition to the schedule.
Well, we closed the deal today. Today we did go ahead and close the deal. So the Ralph Henson Memorial in the middle of the year, our big fireworks event, is going to be an ASCS national show. So I'm going to tell you that.
Well, ASCS
It's not
National.
been put out on the schedule. You're hearing it first right here.
Okay. Nice. ASCS National. It's still a big deal
July
down
11th.
there. That's still a big deal in the South, isn't it? ASCS National.
It is.
It's premier.
It'll be good. It was, we had a show this year here in 25 it's been watched 1 million times. I mean, that race was phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the 360s down there. I know there's a 410 push nationally, it seems like right now, but the 360 still hanging on with the ASCS brand at least.
I'll let you close with Landon. I'm fixing to
put the paying customer on.
I'm an old man.
The paying customer.
Yeah, I'm gonna be calling my bank tomorrow to let them know that the Chaz hacked my debit card.
It'll be Google, so I'll have Google on my side. It is Google.
All right, Chaz, I gotta go to bed. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back on your show and start commenting more and just let everybody know. Let everybody know what's up.
Okay.
All right, see you, buddy.
Well, thanks for calling. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was Landon CRAWLEY on the show. Interesting. Yeah, great show. That was definitely different. I didn't see that one coming tonight. I was planning to talk about the stuff and then maybe have one of you drunks call in, but the sober person or sober thoughts. I'm sober for once on the show. We got a sober guest. This is good. Yeah, 3 hours, just past the 3-hour mark on the show. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Landon Crawley for calling, talking about all the racetracks and the stuff that's happening down there at 67. Once again, high bank short tracks are the way to go. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like the video. As always, be sure to subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.